Good morning, everyone. Jus4SweetZ here. Today I'm going to be making for you a zucchini banana bread. Now, it is zucchini season right now, and I personally do not have a garden because I personally do not have a green thumb. Believe it or not, I kill everything that I try to grow, so I just stay away from the garden. I leave that up to other people. So I do not have one. I wish I did because it would be so great to be able to go to my backyard and pick the things I want to pick. But I depend on other people for that. So, in fact, Linda from Linda's Pantry gave me a giant zucchini from her beautiful garden, and I decided to make zucchini bread out of it. It was so huge. I was gonna use it to cook with, or for dinner or whatever, and then I decided, you know what, I like to bake, so I'm gonna make zucchini bread. And I kid you not, the next day another client of mine came in and brought me like 4 of these white zucchini, which I've never even heard of, and so I have white zucchini to make as well. So I decided to use Linda's zucchini for this bread. So this is going to be a zucchini banana bread, and I'm going to show you. I have made already a loaf and 4 giant muffins, and this is still what I have left, and I've actually grated the zucchini for today already. So this is what I still have left after making 2 batches of zucchini bread. So yeah, it was, look at that. It was huge. Yeah, I can't do that. I would kill it. All right, let's get started here. So what we're going to do is, there's a lot of ingredients involved, but it's very, very simple. You don't even need a mixer. So we're going to start out with the dry ingredients, and first of all, we need 3 cups of flour. Now what I did is I used a cup and a half of whole wheat flour and a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. My reason behind that is I'm trying to slowly convert my family over to using more of whole wheat flour and less of all-purpose flour, trying to get on a healthier note. And not that they would know the difference, but most of the time they watch me bake, and then they would go, ooh, don't do that. So I'm slowly converting them over, and it turned out really good, so I'm just going to stick with what I did yesterday. And now if you choose to use all whole wheat flour, go right ahead, or all-purpose flour, you can do that as well. But this is just what I did, and it turned out really well. So I am going to do 1.5 cups and level it off of my whole wheat flour in a bowl. This is for my dry ingredients. Now you're going to need a bowl for dry ingredients and a bowl for your wet ingredients, and to mix everything together. So that one should probably be a little bit larger. Okay, and here is a half of, so there's a cup and a half. Okay, now what we're going to do is get that out of the way because I have so many things going on over here. Okay, and now we need a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. Now the all-purpose flour I sifted. It said to do sifted flour, but I tried to sift the whole wheat flour, and it did work. Now maybe my sifter just isn't fabulous or anything, but it was, I had a really good arm workout yesterday doing this. So today I'm going to sift just the all-purpose flour. So if you want to sift all of it, you can. I can't get my cup in there real well. So there's almost a cup, so I'll do a heaping half cup here, so it makes up for what I didn't do. Okay, and we're going to put that in our sifter, and we're going to sift away. So let's sift. You also take these ingredients and whisk them together, so I just wanted to sift them a little bit. I could not stop eating the bread and the muffins yesterday. That was my lunch. And I say, it's semi-healthy, right? Okay, get all that flour out of there. All right, I think just about got it all. I just kind of shake it to make sure it's all coming out. See? All the sifted stuff needs to get through the holes. All right, that's it. It's empty. Okay, set that to the side. Let's get the flour out of the way. Okay, and then the next thing we want to put in there is a teaspoon of salt. Now, as you all know, watching my videos, I'm really bad about measuring, so I eye it. So I'm eyeing about a teaspoon of salt here. Throw that in there, and I'm just using a sea salt. You can use kosher salt, whatever salt you have. And then we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And I will measure that because I don't really want to eye that too much. And for some reason my teaspoon's missing, but I have a 1/2 teaspoon measure here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of those. Level those off. Okay. And then we need a teaspoon of baking powder. All the typical ingredients of baking baked goods. Just the measurements and some of the flavors are different, but everything else is the same. So, okay, and now what we need is, it says, I don't know, it says 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm gonna eye it because I kind of know how much I like. So measure it out your first time and then you can adjust it from there. So you need 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and then I added a little bit of nutmeg to mine too, but not a whole lot because nutmeg can sometimes be overpowering, but it also has a good spice flavor. So I'm going to use approximately a 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Okay, so now you're just going to want to get your whisk. And in the meantime, make sure you are preheating your oven to 350 degrees. We want to get that heating up. Okay. And just take your whisk and just whisk all your dry ingredients together. Okay, got those whisked. Okay, now we're going to set those aside. Now it's time to move on to the wet ingredients. Okay, so we need a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. You can use canola oil, vegetable oil. We just need an oil. So we got our 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And I am replacing, actually I usually use a cup of vegetable oil, but because I am trying to get a little bit on the healthier side, I am going to replace that 1/2 cup of vegetable oil with a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. And, you know, really the oil and everything, this is all for the moistness of the cake. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping it moist. And so I'm just replacing that item. We also need 3 eggs. Now feel free, if you want to replace one of those eggs. In fact, I'll do that right now. You can do it with an egg white instead, or you can use egg substitute. Just follow the directions on the back of their container. So we'll use, I'm just going to consider this 3 eggs. Okay. And let me get a paper towel here. We need 2 cups of sugar. Now, you can substitute a cup of your sugar for brown sugar or raw sugar. So I'm actually going to substitute. Sugar in the raw is pretty expensive, so I mean, turbinado sugar. I'm going to go ahead and replace it because I'm trying to get away from the white sugar. But if you don't have turbinado sugar, you can use just all white sugar. So, I mean, this is what it looks like. You can find it at Walmart or any of your stores. And then we are going to use 1 cup of regular white sugar. Now, like I said, if you want to use brown sugar, you can do that as well. Just replace the 2 cups of sugar with 2 cups of brown sugar. It seems like, you know, we need to get away from a lot of these white sugars, but that's what's in our baking. So, okay. So we have that. I'm also going to add some orange zest. Now, I like to add some zest to my breads. Gives it a little bit of a good flavor. So just zest, you can use, I actually yesterday used lemon. So I'm using orange today, but feel free to use lemon or orange. You could probably even do lime, but that might be a little bit funky with this bread. So it's, the choice is yours. And I'm going to add approximately a teaspoon of orange zest to this. And that's just going to give it a nice little fruity, yummy flavor. Sure makes the kitchen smell good, that's for sure. I love the smell of orange zest. Okay, and then we need 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And I love my vanilla. I go through tons of vanilla. Now I've misplaced my teaspoons. So, I don't know what I did with them. I'm having a total blonde moment. Oh, there they are. See? Told you. Okay. So, I love vanilla. It just adds such a nice flavor. So, now remember, these are half teaspoons, so I'm going to add 6 of these. We need 3 teaspoons total of pure vanilla extract. You can also use the vanilla bean paste, which is what I usually use, but I got this giant bottle of vanilla from Mexico, and I want to use this up before I switch back to my vanilla bean paste because I really, really like the flavor of it. So put that back here, and all we're going to do now is we're going to take these ingredients, and I'm going to just use my whisk from my dry ingredients, and we're just going to kind of whisk this together just to get everything a little bit incorporated. Just whisk away. Okay, and now I want to add my ½ cup of Greek yogurt. And Greek yogurt, again, is going to help with the moistness of the cake, and we're replacing that, some of the oil. Feel free to replace all the oil with either Greek yogurt or applesauce. Applesauce also has the same factor. It gives it moistness and replaces all that fat. So you can do that as well. I just don't have any applesauce right now, so I'm just going to use the yogurt. But the yogurt works wonderful. All right, so let's go ahead and mix that in there. It gets nice and creamy. Look at that. Looks delicious. It tastes delicious too, trust me. I did the taste test yesterday with the batter as well as the cake. Alright, you just want to make sure that that's mixed well, so you just mix a couple minutes here. And make sure all those ingredients are incorporated together, but you don't want to overmix it. Okay. Now what we need to do is I have 2 ripe bananas, and I have too many gadgets. Okay, so let's move this out of the way so you can see. I have 2 ripe bananas, and all we're going to do with those is mash them up just a little bit before we stick them in there with the zucchini and the dry ingredients. I have bananas coming out my eyeballs because my daughter wanted them, and they just don't get eaten fast enough. I think I need to buy less, but then when I buy less, everybody wants bananas and I run out. So it's a catch-22. So just take the back of a fork in your finger and just kind of mash these bananas down. You just want to get them pre-mashed before you stick them in there, just like you have your zucchini pre-grated. So mash those bananas pretty well. Whoop, I lost one. Man overboard. Okay. My next venture is going to be chocolate zucchini bread. I'm dying to try that, but I've been trying all these different combinations of zucchini bread, and of course I'll be taking these to work for the girls to try. In fact, we have a haircutting class today, and I'm going to take this loaf that comes out of the oven to that class. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to incorporate our 2 bananas that we just mashed. And these are pretty good sized bananas, so if they're small bananas, use 3. And we're going to incorporate our zucchini. And we have 2½ cups of grated zucchini. And now for our dry mixture that you watched me do earlier. Like I said, there's a lot of ingredients, but it's a pretty easy, basic thing to do. And just put in about half, and then you're just going to kind of fold those in there. You want to, you don't want to make a mess everywhere. So just fold those dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. And by folding, I mean scraping the sides of the bowl and coming to the center and lifting up. Not a major mix, just a fold. And these make wonderful muffins. So if you don't want to do bread and muffins, I'm doing bread and muffins. And I'm just going to get probably about 4 or 5 big muffins out of this. because I'm doing a whole loaf of bread. But you can do all muffins if you want to, or all bread. It's very versatile. Okay, so let's keep folding. And you can even add almonds, or you can add, a lot of people like walnuts or pecans in their bread. Now, feel free, if you're going to add nuts to this, add a cup of chopped walnuts, a cup of chopped pecans, or like a half a cup of the sliced almonds. You can add crushed peanuts to it if you want, but keep it in that like half cup to 1 cup range. My family does not like nuts in their bread. I don't know why, because I love nuts in my bread, so no one takes after me, but so I'm not allowed to add nuts. If I add nuts, I add it to the top and then they can pick them off, which I did do yesterday. I added almonds to the top of my bread. So, and those nuts provide good protein. I wish they really did like them. I try to use mostly almonds. Sometimes I'll use pecans or walnuts. Nuts are very expensive, but they have good health benefits. So, okay, so this is all incorporated in. See how easy that was? We just folded. You just want to make sure that you got all your dry ingredients mixed in. And it is ready to go. It's smelling very cinnamony. Okay, so here are my baking dishes, and like I said, my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. And now we're going to take just some regular spray grease, and we're going to grease the insides of these pans because we don't want anything to stick. And I'm just greasing all 6 because I don't know how many it's going to make. So I'm going to start by doing the bread pan because I want to make sure I have a good loaf of bread going. So I don't want to not have enough ingredients for my bread. And I usually, with the bread, fill it about 2/3 full because it does rise. It doesn't rise as if it has yeast in it, but it rises. Okay. I'm making a mess. Okay, so there's our bread. You can see that that's all ready to go in the oven. Okay, we'll put that aside. Now we're going to fill those muffin tins that I'm making a mess on. And I tend to use the spatula and my fingers, and I like to fill these about the same, 2/3 to 3/4 full, because the muffins do rise. But you want them to rise because then they look beautiful. And this is actually a giant muffin pan. It's one of the bigger ones, so it makes the big muffins like you see at Costco and Sam's Club and places like that. And I like to make the big giant muffins. I think I'm just going to get 4 out of this, and then I'll put the leftovers, whoop, as I just threw it all along the counter. I never said I was a clean cook. I'm the same way as a colorist. I get color everywhere, and I do a good color, but it goes everywhere. Okay, so we're just going to make sure these cups are about 3/4 full because I want those muffins to expand over the top and just look really hearty and yummy. Okay, so we'll take this little bit that we have left. We'll just put that in with our bread. Now the bread we're going to stick in the oven at 350 degrees, and this bread is going to cook for 55 minutes. But everybody's oven is different, so I would set it for 45, and after 45 minutes, time it every 5 minutes and check it. You want to make sure that if you stick, you don't want it to be dry, but you want to make sure if you insert a toothpick that it comes out clean and not wet. It can have a little bit of moisture on it, like if it's like a dry moisture, that means your bread's moist. Take it out and just let your bread set up. But you don't want, it wet. Mine yesterday took 55 minutes on 350 degrees for the bread part of it. So, okay, so here's your muffins. Look at those. Don't those look good? Okay. The muffins, however, took about 30 minutes on 350 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my bread in, and I'm going to time it for 55 minutes, and after, you know, I reach about 25 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick my muffins in there. And same with the muffins. You want to kind of, with muffins, it's easy. You can kind of push the middle, and if it springs back like a cupcake, then you know it's done. You don't want it to be too springy because then it's going to be overdone. So just go ahead and check it that way. But these took me about 30 minutes yesterday on 350 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to stick the bread in the oven, and I'm going to show you what I did yesterday, and then you can see the end result. So it helps to get pans out of the oven. Okay, we'll set our timer, and I'm going to show you what I did yesterday. So here's the end result of my muffins and my bread. This is from yesterday. And I told you, see, the muffins are nice and big and hearty. And all I did was throw some slivered almonds on top. I love them that way. Again, my family doesn't. And I'll probably do that with these too, is throw some slivered almonds before you bake it on top. This is just the bread without the almonds, which is what my family likes to eat. And I'm going to show you how moist this is. It's really moist. Just slice it right up, and you have beautiful zucchini bread that you can slice up for everybody. This makes a really, really yummy French toast, so you can make French toast out of it. You could also make slice it just a tad thinner, not a bunch thinner, because it'll fall apart, but you could make a really yummy grilled turkey sandwich on it. So there's some different options, and it's delicious. It's wonderful. It makes your house smell good. Everybody will love it. They'll keep eating it. It was addictive yesterday. In fact, I told you I ate a whole muffin, and then my family sliced away at this, and then picked off the almonds and ate a muffin. So we'll go over the ingredients one more time. Excuse me. I'll tell you what I did. We have 1½ cups of whole wheat flour, 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder. I used approximately 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and like I said, you can do that however you want to. You can add more, add less. After you taste it, you can adjust your taste buds. I used about ½ teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and those were our dry ingredients. Put those in a bowl, and you just whisk those together, set them aside, get another bowl, and you want to add 3 eggs, ½ cup of vegetable or canola oil, ½ cup of unflavored Greek yogurt. You can use a vanilla Greek yogurt if you like. I just use the unflavored. 1 cup of turbinado or raw sugar, 1 cup of white sugar. You can replace that with brown sugar if you'd like, or just use all white sugar or all brown sugar. With the vegetable oil, you can replace that with applesauce or Greek yogurt, or do it the way I did it. We need 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Can't forget the vanilla extract. 1 teaspoon of grated orange or lemon zest. And then you're going to have 2½ cups of shredded zucchini to the side. And we used 2 bananas. They were large bananas, so if you don't have large bananas, use 3 small bananas. Ripened, and put in a bowl and mash them up. We're going to take those wet ingredients, we're going to mix them together, and then fold in your zucchini and your bananas, and then you're going to fold in all your dry ingredients and then bake away. I used a loaf pan and a muffin pan. Bake anywhere between 45 to 60 minutes for the bread, and for the muffins, I would say anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes for the muffins. You want to keep an eye on them. Make sure they spring back when you take them out of the oven. Make sure that your bread is not wet in the middle. And there you have zucchini banana bread. It's delicious, nutritious, yummy. It's a way to get your family to eat their vegetables, their fruit. That's the way I look at it, you know. So that's how I justify eating my bread. Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you like it, please hit the like button. I sure had a lot of fun making this and coming up with new creations. Feel free to omit the bananas out of there if you want to. You do not have to have the bananas. You can just have zucchini bread, or replace the bananas with 1 Granny Smith apple that you've chopped up. The possibilities are endless. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, God bless.